Number figured out, a motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that, folks. Let me get it going. Craftus, welcome. Quad Bennett, welcome. Trans Day of Visibility, thank you. Yes, indeed. Derry Bennett, welcome. Charlie Martini, welcome. Soul Life, welcome. Start the damn show. It's starting. Yes, today is Trans Visibility Day. Michael Haster, welcome. The Letter Hack, welcome. Sup? Soul Life, welcome. Moanep, welcome. Think I got everybody. Thank you for all for being here. Appreciate it. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let me tell you, folks, today we're going to try to just kind of speed run through this because A, I'm tired, and B, I got to get out of here. So let's just try to get through this. Folks, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all being here. If you want to support the channel, don't forget there are many different ways of doing so. Thank you for liking the stream. I appreciate it. And subscribing and following here. I appreciate that. If you want to support the channel directly, you can check out the merch store, and you can also check the !tip command. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. Let's get started, folks. Let's go. Let's go, go, go. Yes, and subscribe to the Substack. Let me make sure I got everything going. All right. That is good. All right. Sammy, welcome. Speedrun time, indeed. There's so much, like, honestly, like, it's a lot of stuff to go through. But it's also very heavy stuff, okay? Not gonna lie.
This is our cold water pressure in the
Good to see everyone. Appreciate
kitchen.
it.
This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably 20,000, and that's not counting any of the
All the
faucets.
replacement
Yeah.
of the fixtures and
That's
faucets
just
and
the well.
toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
In this case, it's for Meta.
Data centers going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs. From light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts to the potential rising costs of energy bills, these facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
Oh my God.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, corporations, like, it's the bread and butter of corporations, right? To offset the cost to the public, and privatize the profits for themselves.
Amazon, Microsoft, they can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to Georgia to ask 2 questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it?
Your house is here, and the data center's right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
That's actually kind of wild.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016, but their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was perfect.
I was actually raised probably 5 miles from here. It felt like coming home.
The data center that's now the Morris' next door neighbor happens to be owned by Meta, the company you know for Facebook and Instagram, but is...
Kadarius, thank you for the follow. Maybe, I don't know, stop defending Harry Sassone. I'm so sick of all these streamers defending Harry Sassone. Yeah, a thing that's happening here, question mark? What does this have to do with Harry Sassone? Dennis Paco, welcome. Fascism is the blending of corporate and the state. Yes, that is an aspect of it. Whatever, man. Yeah, just get out of here, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Have I even mentioned Harry Sassone in the 2 minutes that this has been going on? What are you talking about? Echo Rest of Dragon. Fine, I'll leave them. Yeah, it's probably for the best. Be for real. Well, what about, about what are you talking about in the US? Oh, you know, corporations being corporations, destroying people's lives.
Also been breaking into artificial intelligence. They started construction on this data center campus in 2018.
Definitely changed everything. They destroyed the environment, taking down all the trees across the road.
Beautiful pines, beautiful forest.
The light pollution is...
We don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night.
That's actually wild. That is actually wild. Kadarius Tony fan crying about morality. Who is Harry Sassone? What I miss? Harry Sassone is like a very very, very lib person who's incredibly partisan. So yeah. Well, it's normal for U.S. to be honest. Donald Trump is president, so it won't get any better. I don't disagree with that. That's true.
It's that pride.
This is a video of the dust from Facebook where the construction was. What it looks like right now out my front door. The wind blowing in all of this stuff from across the construction, across the road.
This is all from Meta.
Yeah, I was standing on my front porch. I think eventually that affected our well water. We're on a well here, and we started having issues with our well in 2018. I have to replace the hot water heater. I've replaced 2 washing machines and a dishwasher because of the sediment that's coming in.
A lot of what the Morrises are facing is from the polluting effects of this massive construction, but that's only one part of the story. There are serious costs to communities once data centers are operational too. To explain that, we have to back up for a second. I wouldn't blame you if you were asking yourself, what the heck is a data center anyway? Their origins date back to early, clunky supercomputers or mainframes in the 1950s and 60s. And then in the 90s, with the birth of the internet, the modern data center was born as a way for internet providers to connect businesses and the world to the web. In the 2010s, data centers became larger as they became critical to new cloud storage.
To the cloud. With the cloud, we share a sync folder that allows us to all work on the same documents.
Everything from your pet photos to entire workplaces.
Yeah. That was a real thing. Well, in Europe, anyone except Putin hates Trump. I'm not surprised. I don't blame him either. I was at a real grocery store. I mean, like, even in the U.S., a lot of people hate Trump. I was at a real grocery store, so I bought some real stuff like lunch meat, like real lunch meat, and I'm almost out. Oof. That's a
To
tragedy.
files for video streaming, like this video you're watching right now, or in the cloud. Today, we are in the midst of a tectonic shift in processing needs, as large as the birth of the internet. Artificial intelligence.
A transformational moment for data center demand.
But the thing is, AI processing demands are much larger. One report showed that a Google search using a ChatGPT-like AI feature used 30 times as much power as a normal Google search. In the next 3 years, data center use of electricity is expected to double or even triple. And the state of Georgia has the fastest data center growth in the entire country.
The two biggest reasons data centers come to Georgia are that electricity rates for industrials, which is the class that they're in, are 42% below the national average. And the second biggest one are data center tax breaks. They received over $180 million in tax.
Cool. Get that taxpayer money. I mean, like, you know, when you try to explain to people why they should care about billionaires and wealthy people, the capital class essentially having this much power, it's because they want access to your tax dollars. This is it. Like, all these tax breaks, this is the end game. Globus the Elder, welcome. I am summoned. How did he become president? Well, I find it funny how they threatened Denmark and then begged them. Yeah, and nothing makes sense. How do you find that the U.S. kidnapped 3 German tourists? I mean, it's disgusting. But what about the tens of jobs it will create? You'd think when I go to China this summer, if I explain myself, they'll let me stay.
Tax breaks last year.
The week we were in Georgia, a showdown was happening at the state capitol over 2 bills tied to data centers.
Senator Hofstadter had proposed 2 different bills, and one of them was SB 34, which was the data centers bill, to move the burden of the operational costs of data centers from ratepayers to the data centers themselves.
And what is SB 94?
That is the Consumer Utility Council, a legal advocate for ratepayers and small businesses.
Bills like these are the result of mounting residential anger and the work of dedicated advocates across the state, like Diana Dietz, who lives 50 miles away from the Capitol in Fayette County.
This is a huge industrial project plopped in a residential area. This was the original plan, 122 acres.
In a perfect world, modular nuclear electric data centers would be ideal, but I have no faith in proper regulation getting passed to maintain their safety until it's too late and something happens. I mean, like, it really... it really is dependent on that, right? Corporations pretty much stealing out of public property and health. Yep. Notice the map of the data centers, probably someone's farm forced into bankruptcy. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Elon's XAI data centers runs off methane gas. It's so bad it burns your eyes outside the facility and smell terrible. Jesus. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna be at a family gathering and an estranged family member's coming and he's in the Trump administration. Man, spill the beans on that. I would love some insight. Okay. I find it funny Trump gets farmer bankrupts and then tariffs them. Yeah, I mean, he was never for the farmers. He was never for the working class. If you have some tea to spill, okay, Rex, Terminator, feel free if you're able to, if you're allowed to.
And then the Development Authority got involved.
In 2022, officials in Fayette County voted to annex and rezone an additional 412 acres for a data center campus. Fayetteville's City Council voted 5-0 in favor of the development, despite passionate opposition from some local residents. The site was then purchased by QTS, which is owned by Blackstone, for $153.8 million.
These speculators, investors, are secretly buying up land right next to homeowners. And it was all done so that when we all went to the 4 public hearings between the county and the city, it was a done deal. This is the one that's currently under construction, and this is where Gene and Joe are.
Gene and Joe Marshall.
But now he's a very high position as the assistant to a cabinet member. I would love for him to say something stupid. Oof. By the way, do you support Hamas or Israel? I support, like, human life, dude. Israel's committing a genocide. Anything else?
Live on the edge of Fayetteville.
I support the Palestinians' right to not be bombed into oblivion. I don't understand why that would be like. I don't understand why that would be like even like a question. Well, in the chat rule it says if it stands, I can ask anything. No, it says you can ask anything within reason. I think it says within the topic. I think, or did I not put that in there? Oh, Team Hamas or Team IDF? Oh, come on, don't be lame and pick a size like it's a sport.
Fayette County on an 8-acre property.
This driveway is almost the line for Fayette County versus Fayetteville, where QTS's property is located. We have absolutely no say in anything that happens over here.
Despite their vocal opposition to the project, living next to construction on all sides of their home has become their daily reality for the last 2 years.
They do nightly pours over here, and in the back part at the other building, the lights are shining and there is noise. 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. So they don't stop. Oh yeah, sure.
We went to visit Nikki Vanderslice, who heads up the Fayette County Economic Development Authority, a non-governmental agency that played a central role in the marketing of the land for data center development. For residents who live alongside these data centers, life has become very difficult.
Yeah, I can't imagine having this like as next to me, right? And like, there's not much recourse you can do because these corporations are so freaking powerful. I mean, like, what are you gonna do against like unlimited money? Ladybug, welcome. Yeah, I mean, like, I also think that, just to add to that, I also think that, like, it's very suspect to frame the question as whether you're pro-Hamas or pro-Israel, right? Like, that is already a very suspect framing. When, like, at this point, like, you damn know well what's happening over there. It's annihilation. It's annihilation. So yeah, I'm going to always be against genocide. Pro-Hamas is a ridiculous term to call it out every time. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty suspect framing. That's why when people like Mark Zuck buys a house, they also buy the immediate surrounding properties as a buffer zone. They're literally gearing up to apply legal status of terrorism on Americans and use their constitutionally protected and using their constitutionally protected right. Yes, so free speech. Correct.
What do you say to them?
Anyways.
Well, I say to them that there's a couple of things. One, we were very transparent. The Development Authority was very open about attracting a data center, and there wasn't any resistance until it came to their property specifically.
Vanderslice says data centers are good for the community, even if some don't see the benefits yet.
In 2021, that property paid $36,000 in property taxes total. In 2024, on raw land, it paid $1.13 million in property taxes. That contributed $760,000 to our local Board of Education. I'm apologetic that they're being impacted, but I also see the benefits of what the companies are doing and how they're improving our economy. And so there's the
Yeah, like they're not. Like they're improving their position, right? Because there's no like there's no like regulations happening here. They're getting everything.
balance that when you have, 200 out of 120,000 people, that you have to balance what's the highest and best use for the whole of the community.
It's just the height of selfishness to imagine that one county's benefit to the huge detriment of 158 other counties in Georgia that now have to pay higher electric bills is okay. It's not okay. It drives inequity. It's very immoral too.
That's Patty Durand, and as you can tell, she does not agree with Nikki Vanderslice. Patty is a longtime consumer advocate and expert on energy policy who's been raising the alarm about rising costs of electricity related to data centers.
Are data centers going to drive up energy costs for residents across the state?
On May 1st, Georgia Power residential ratepayers experienced a 24% rate increase. Just since 2023, Georgia Power has raised rates 6 times.
And related to those rate hikes, remember those 2 bills we mentioned earlier? We were with Patty as she was watching a live feed of the Senate floor.
Yeah, it's 100% never about the community. Wants to buy his neighbor's house as a buffer, but he's trying not to be a capitalist. When corporations get tax cuts or any form of profit, they don't increase wages or hire new employees as there's no incentive to do so. They just do stock buybacks. Right. Yeah, let her be surrounded by the data centers. The video of Mark Zuckerberg, I love smoking meats, was at a property surrounded by houses he bought up, which is kind of effed up considering he has several mansions built for himself in an apocalypse property. Yeah, I mean, like, it's dragon sickness, man. You have all the freaking money in the world, and this is like what you're doing with it.
Today is crossover day, which means any bill that does not
welcome.
get through one side of the House or the Senate to the other side is dead for the year. And right now, Senate Bill 34 is not on that list.
By later that evening, both bills had failed to get a vote. As disappointed and angry as Patty was, she wasn't too surprised.
Georgia legislators are getting soaked with money from Georgia Power.
Is that a conflict of interest?
Absolutely. It is clearly corrupting. This is the highest paid utility CEOs in the country. Why is the poorest region in the country paying the most to our CEOs?
$23 million, $33 million.
It's ridiculous how much money they make.
Yeah, not surprising.
Our time in Georgia is crucial to understanding what's happening all across the country because the growth of data centers is not slowing down anytime soon. And tech billionaires have already been complaining about the amount of red tape involved in powering this growth.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, complain about like governmental regulations. Whatever. That's the whole point of regulatory agencies. They exist to prevent corporations from bleeding the costs of their operations onto the local community. Medical bills, tax-funded, ecological cleanups. Yep, that's why Trump is gutting them. Yep, 100%. I swear, YouTube is trying to hide you from me. I had to look for this. I have to set on all notifications. Also, like, by the way, since like I know that this is like a thing with YouTube and just kind of social media in general. I mean, if you join the Discord, you can get like an automatic notification of when the stream goes live. Just as another just kind of way of being notified, because it automatically shoots a flare whenever the stream goes live in case these notifications don't work. This is a great video, by the way. I agree. China with 3 laptops and Windows 98 making better AI. You should make a second channel on cosplay as a right-wing grifter and you'll make tons of money. True. I can make a massive right-wing channel, okay? And then, like, lift the curtain like the Wizard of Oz, right? At the end of the right-wing grift, I just lift the curtain like the Wizard of Oz, and it's just like, it's just this.
Getting energy permitted is like a very heavily regulated government function. And if you're talking about building large new power plants or large build outs, that is just a heavily regulated thing.
The regulatory body in question is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
A professional Gamba streamer. I have dreams about that. One day these grifters will come out of the closet. Can we please get the Discord link? I got you. Poor neighborhoods have been dealing with this shit for years. Yeah, undoubtedly. Maybe, Discord. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I suck at Discord. No, it's all good. It's just another, it's just another alternative.
Also known as FERC, an independent and historically nonpartisan agency that regulates interstate transmission of electricity, natural gas, and oil. But just last month, President Trump signed an executive order placing FERC under White House control. And he's been boasting about his ability to fast-track new projects.
We're going to get very rapid approvals in the United States, like with the AI plans. Under emergency declaration, I can get the approvals done myself without having to go through years of waiting.
With this alliance between the federal government, Silicon Valley, and utility monopolies, who's looking out for regular Americans like the Morrises?
During the peak season, our electric bill was...
No one. Not really.
Maybe $250.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's probably $400.
Your electricity bill has doubled. Wow.
It's been a struggle.
Every month it's a struggle. Jeff would like to retire, but he keeps working because we have to pay our bills.
Do you think that people should have to pay more because of data centers?
No,
I wonder if one day we'll hear about the redlining practices that banks engage in surrounding industrial developments. It's always been about class and race. Well, yeah, of course, especially with redline practices that still, by the way, their ripple effects are still felt today. Like the effects of like redlining policies are still visible today.
Absolutely not. They should pay for that difference. It's hard enough for a regular person to pay their electric bill as it is. I don't think that's right at all.
We reached out to the big tech companies, including Meta and QTS, asking for an interview.
Correct. You're describing systemic racism. You're describing... No, it's not the banks that care about racism or not. It's just like the system inherently tends to skew, right, one way or another, usually against black and people of color, and that is usually enforced by an ideology that's somewhere. Sometimes it's the government. Sometimes it's the government.
And a tour of their facilities, but both declined to participate in the story.
Duran says despite the bill's failure, the fight will go on. A number of other states have similar bills up for debate right now.
The reason I think other states should pass it, whether we do or not, is that data centers could possibly come to their state next. There needs to be legislation to protect them because by all accounts, data center growth...
Did you know the best predictor of what socioeconomic class you'll be is your zip code? Yeah.
...is going to be very fast.
Before you go, please support our work by liking this video. And
honestly, like More Perfect Union does a lot of good work.
A Bush appointed judge as to the Superior Court, I think, and then was elevated by Barack Obama. So, to the extent that we know any of his politics, he's okay with the Federalist Society, or was. He has refused to lift the order enjoining Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport immigrants. And that doesn't mean that there aren't immigrants being deported. It's just that they can't do it under the auspices of the Alien Enemies Act.
They do. I'd love more perfect union. Wolfglen, welcome. For real wealthy people, it's based on your grandparents' final zip code,
which affords a lot less due process. And here is the fundamental problem that the Republicans and really the anti-immigrant folks have in terms of their fantastical solution. And that is to deport all immigrants. And that is that we don't have the capacity to process them. And certainly part of like the Biden immigration bill, there's a lot of it that I didn't like. But one of the things that was good was we need more money to have more magistrates to assess.
Isn't the Alien Enemies Act illegal to do when you're not in war? Yeah.
People's claims.
Yeah, part of the problem is that like the dubious way that it's being deployed. The argument is that Venezuela, right, is I guess allowing Tren de Aragua to come here, and Tren de Aragua is has been designated as a terrorist organization that is conducting irregular warfare against the United States. So therefore, the Alien Enemies Act is warranted to try to get rid of all of these people. So yeah, I mean, like it's incredibly dubious because like A, there's no proof of any of that happening. B, gang activity is not irregular warfare, right? And C, it's not like these people are being deported back to their country. They're being put in a concentration camp in El Salvador. I swear, Gboard is getting stupider. The amount of words that get autocorrected on me, it gets worse every day. Yeah, it's a gross, purposeful misreading of the law. Right, like, that's probably a better summary of that. Yeah, it's grossly and purposely misread to try to exert more power than Trump should have. Anyone who brings up the Alien Enemies Act as a legal defense is straight up a liar, has zero understanding of the law. Right. I mean, these people like Trump, what they want is that is that plausible, like kind of veneer of, hey, look, it's lawful. What I'm doing is legal, when it's really not. What I found weird is that what Trump is doing is legal, and they still have still pass the law. Like in Germany, won't even pass if you have 50% of the parliament. Well, this isn't like a law that he passed. It's a law that he's claiming that he has authority to invoke. So this law has been on the books since forever and a half. And it's not like he passed this law. He's just invoking it. Also, that's true. Trump, also that's true. Like, forget the notion that Trump cares about what's legal, right? Like, that's actually part of the crux here. What is legal is irrelevant to Trump in his mind, right? Like, it doesn't matter what actually the law says. It doesn't matter what the Constitution actually says. Trump doesn't care about any of that. That's why the stretching of this law is being done, right? Like this dubious interpretation is being done. It's because he doesn't actually care. So not like thinking that Trump is operating under some kind of like care for the actual law is not the way to go about it if you want to understand what's happening. 1789, that's right. It also predates slavery abolition. How is this act relevant in any ways today? Oh, wait, never mind. FG, welcome. In his mind, he is the law.
Of asylum. I also would have liked to loosen those claims. I think having immigrants in this country is healthy for us, both from an economic standpoint and just broadly societal standpoint. But here is Brian Kilmeade unwittingly
Looking to scale customer service without scaling headcount?
Oh, look, we start talking about AI and we get AI ads. But for me, it's weird as how it's possible he's doing all this. Like in Germany, it'd be done. Yeah, but like this is, well, you know, everything, including in Germany, by the way, everything is basically a gentleman's agreement. The whole thing, all of society is being held together by a gentleman's agreement, right? Like the moment the correct amount of people decide that they don't want to play ball anymore, it all falls apart, right? Like that's why it's happening the way it is, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's not weird at all. Because like, you know, if you were to tell me like a couple of years ago, right? Like if that this was possible, I would have said no, there's checks and balances here, right? There's checks and balances. But it doesn't matter if there are checks and balances if they don't work, right? If the institutions that are designed to quote unquote stop this don't work, then like it kind of doesn't matter, right? Which is what I'm saying is this whole thing is reliant on a gentleman's agreement, a pinky promise. He has installed a cabinet of absolute compliance at the cost of competence. Yes, these people are idiots, but they also listen to him before the Constitution and they admit it in front of confirmation hearings. Yeah, good to see you too. Heat, how's it going? Welcome. It can work in other countries, by the way. Don't think that it can't happen anywhere else, because it can. The moment like the social contract is broken, right? Like the gentleman's agreement that we live in a democracy is broken. It doesn't matter, right?
Understanding the dilemma that is being faced and then basically saying like, hey, let's throw out all one of the fundamental
emphasis on hell
principles of United States society.
Asking that in order to send them to El Salvador, you have to have proof that they were in a gang, or is breaking the law and entering our country that's not enough. So what is
it? But the president is saying under the act that you don't have to show, you don't have to do this due process. So you have a constitutional right that is.
It's not constitutional. Like that's the thing.
Actually, they are afforded to illegals in this country. We should revisit that. But then you have
hold on for a second. We should revisit the constitutional rights that the so-called illegals have in this country. We should. I love how you throw off the Constitution. We should revisit that. Okay, let's revisit that. How do we go about revisiting that constitutional right?
I'm going to pretend I'm taking it seriously, but I'm going to, say
we'll revisit it.
Right, and that's what's incredible about this is they've blown past the pretense that we were under in the Bush administration that like, okay, well.
Winnie Rose, welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Someone cool is live. I just made a finger sandwich, had something to say related to what I heard, rushed to the keyboard, saw my name highlighted in chat, and forgot what I wanted to say. These people on Fox are liars and they should be tried one day.
If we're going to violate their due process rights, let's at least keep them overseas in Guantanamo Bay and not give them a trial or like just detain them.
Science politically. Thank you for the follow.
Definitely. Now, if you're on U.S. soil, but you're not a permanent U.S. citizen, apparently you don't have constitutional rights, according to Fox and Friends, which is news to a lot of legal scholars.
Let me just correct you. If you are suspected or accused of being a non-citizen, because we don't know.
Right, like that's the problem. We don't know, right? Like you could have, now they're saying what, certain tattoos, or like Trenderagua. Like, dude, you can be roped up for looking, for quote, fitting the description. Okay, and you can find yourself in a concentration camp, okay, on the other side of the freaking continent, because you don't have due process. The only thing that's required is to make the accusation that you are a gang member, specifically of that gang. Am I visible? Yes, you are very visible. I heard about a lot of people gone to some kind of camps from ICE. I don't know what they're called. They're called concentration camps. They're called concentration camps. Let's be very clear.
Right.
Like, part of due process, the reason why you have due process is not just because it's fun to say. It's because you want to know that the people that you are subjects of your criminal, of your, your prosecutorial actions are actually of the class or have done the thing.
I hate this. Hide your tattoos, people. Yeah, I mean, it's so freaking wild. It's so freaking wild that we even have to think about it. Why it reminded to me of to something. You're gonna have to reword that. I'm sorry.
Reasonably assuming that they have done. That's what due process is for. But we should revisit that. But go ahead.
It's wild that you do have to hide
we should
your tattoo, especially if you fit the description, right? If you're Hispanic, okay, if you look Latino, like yeah, you're very very much eligible to be roped up. And that's not even like exaggeration. Like that's literally what happened in an uncomfortable amount of these cases, right? Sorry if you already covered this, but do you have any thoughts on the anti-war president threatening to bomb a country that could destabilize the global economy within the hour? Did he threaten to bomb another? I don't know. Like Trump does so much stuff, like it's really hard to keep up. But who did he threaten to bomb this time? Yeah, they are deporting everybody. And make no mistake, okay? Eventually, they'll come for you too. Oh, Trump to Iran, if you don't make a deal, there'll be bombings, and there'll be bombings by like the likes of which you have never seen before. Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. He left the deal. Iran, yeah, apparently. Iran, yep.
That. But then you have a competing act that is saying, hey, if someone is a part of a foreign terrorist organization, that you don't have to give them due process and they can be deported. Now, the agents that I talked
to...
But
they have to prove that they were actually in Trinidad or MS-13? Or
exactly. And so what the agent...
She's the one that's kind of like injecting, right? Like this, there's like a small sliver of lucidity being injected into the conversation. There's a small bit of lucidity being injected into this conversation by her, like repeatedly, by the way, saying like, what about due process? And these two are and these two, of course, their job is to facilitate the notion that maybe we shouldn't have due process, because if a certain group of people don't have due process, then nobody has due process. He's going to be out of bombs after this Greenland debacle, so good luck, Orangey.
What are saying is, because you hear all these activists keep talking about the tattoos. We're not just talking about the tattoos. That's just one of the elements. We sat on their house, and part of the reason why we don't want to reveal some of this information is because some of the people that got the information are undercover. So if we start bringing out our sources and methods, we're going to burn our
I don't think so. Are they really terrorists or just drug smugglers? It's unclear because they don't have due process. We don't know, honestly. Like, that is actually the legitimate, problem. We don't know. We don't know if these people are even criminals. We don't know if they're related to a gang. We don't know if they're related to the specific gang, Tren de Aragua. Like, we just don't know. If they just say that, if they just say that you are a gang member and they're specifically of Tren de Aragua, and that's it. That's all they need to say.
Forces that are still within the organization.
I think that's a great point.
It's not a great point. Then conclude your investigation. What is this?
We need to have the secret moles inside the sleeper cells.
Yeah, we don't want to give away the secret.
To prevent them from wait, what? Why don't you just... I don't get it. Why wouldn't you just round them all up?
The sources and methods of one of these goons looking through like images, drinking a Mountain Dew, being like, yeah, I think that's a terrorist because I saw a crown tattoo. Please.
You don't understand what they're doing, Matt.
Eating Cheetos, being like, yeah, it looks like a terrorist.
Yeah, round him up. That's what it is.
With your law enforcement background, especially. But I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people. No. There's 22 million people here, at minimum illegal already, just in the last 3 administrations.
Pause
and
it for a
there's some
second.
people that got.
Now, the numbers are 23 million now it's up to?
Total, I guess, is what he said.
I don't think so.
He said 8 million there, and then I mean,
go back a little
Kilmeade
bit.
said 22 million at a minimum here illegally, which is not the number that.
But okay, let's assume it's 23 million that are here illegally. Like some have overstayed.
No, man, the off-topic stuff is against me. You two can hash it out. I'm not gonna get in the middle of that until I need to. Until I need to intervene. But chat is free to mingle among themselves. Don't mind me, okay? The reason why we have that rule is so that we can kind of continue the stream in a streamlined fashion. Does that make sense? You two can hash it out.
And this and that. They're claiming that if you're a member of a terrorist organization, all of a sudden this gangs have bumped up to terrorist organizations now, as opposed to criminal organizations.
Like chat constantly has like random conversations with each other. That's fine. I don't mind that.
We can't reasonably do due process. Well, then how do you know these people are the people that you say they are?
Maybe it's time to tell.
Trust us.
Maybe it's time to tell all the Republican voters who've been gassed up about mass deportations that actually all that shit was lies for campaigns. It's not feasible.
And I was suspicious that this was the case, but you look it up. You just do the simple math. There's around 12.8 million green card holders living in the U.S. The estimates in terms of people who are here having crossed the border without documentation is around 11 million.
Green card who have overstayed?
No, just green card holders. So that total the rough math would be
so
what
they're adding up
is
legal.
That's what it seems like. Is that right? Like my math?
I don't know.
12.8 plus
my
11?
understanding is that half of the undocumented people in this country are actually came here with a visa and then overstayed. And the other half came across the border, north or south, or by boat or whatever, without documentation.
I don't know if that's the number that Kilmeade is describing, but all of the figures that I have seen in terms of people who are here and technically what they would call illegal immigrants would be anywhere from 8 to 12 million people. It's around 11 million is usually what's used right now. If you were to do that math, that would be an extremely scary escalation to add green card holders to that. But we're already seeing it. We're already seeing green card holders being deported and detained and attacked without due process.
Well, that's because they were really mean on social media.
To Israel?
To Israel. But here's some bad news. Even if it's just 8 million, you will also not be able to provide due process for them in any type of reasonable time with the resource.
No problem, Soul Life.
That we dedicated towards it. And this is it's the same thing they're doing with Social Security. We break the process in delivering these things and then say these things are not things that we should have.
It's because some of the people that got the information are undercover. So if we start bringing out our sources and methods, we're going to burn our sources that are still within the organization.
That's a great point with your law enforcement background, especially. But I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people. No. There's 22 million people here and minimum illegal already just in the last 3 administrations. And there's some people that got through with Trump's administration. If we're going to give these guys a day in court.
This is freaking scary. I mean, like the fash porn that's being put out by Bukele is really freaking disturbing.
And a lawyer,
it is inhumane.
We can't do it. They don't deserve it. Our system doesn't need to be double burdened. And I would just love to see the same curiosity, anger, outrage about the millions that came here at our border. You found the NGOs. Yeah. You couldn't get into the building.
So true.
But they were sent into Westchester, small towns into Pennsylvania, and they're unloaded, and we don't know anything about them. Where was Margaret Brennan and
Well, incidentally, that's what due process would be for, right? Like, incidentally, if you want to know more about who's coming in, you want due process to suss it out, right? Like, that's how this works. Like, if you really want to like know and try to suss out who is a gang member, who's a criminal, and who's not, you would be in favor of due process because you would want to know who's who. Somewhere tomorrow, Hallman is telling a 19-year-old, make a list of anti-Israel Jews, and if any American Jew doesn't worry about that, then the ADL has failed. Yeah, I mean, like, the ADL...
And who's ever hosting Meet the Press today, where were they curious about what's going on? How do we know who's landing in the middle of the night? How do we know who's been put into our school systems?
Incidentally, you would want due process to, again, figure this out.
Then, if you
pause it. Maybe you should have some type of due process. I mean, what do you mean? How do we know?
Expand the bureaucracy.
Right.
Were they flying in invisible jets that are run by some type of like fourth party? Give the money, provide the capacity to our immigration system. If you are
even gang members deserve due process, right? 100%. Imagine if all cop shows were based on this practice on 132nd episode per season. Obviously don't know how it was edited, but everyone said the American dream is over and there's no desire to come here. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Concerned that they don't know who these people are.
I mean, look at this image. Look at this. Just put this screenshot up. I mean, what images does this look like? It's some of the darkest periods of our history. Men with shaved heads, bowing their heads.
Yeah, I mean, like this looks like this looks like what it looks like. Okay. They profile people assuming they're in gangs to lock them up because of their skin color. Let's be honest, 100%. As I've said before, unless you or your family is Native American, then you are an illegal. True. Can't the yeah, sorry. I know that English is not your first language. I'll translate. Can't the Democratic Party do anything against this inhumane shit? Can they? Yeah. How much can they do is unclear. But the problem is they're not really doing very much of whatever they can do. They're not doing enough. Does that make sense? Whatever they can do, they're just not. They're just not there. In fact, Harris ran on a tougher on immigration. Harris ran on a tougher on immigration platform to try to curry favor with this crap. So it's not really the opposition to this is not really there. It is the history of liberalism to fold to fascism, and it needs to be actively fought against. right? Because liberalism or the liberal ideology is not equipped to fight fascism. It's just not. It's just not. Compared with Germany, our parties are far right and center right. Trump's just bitter that he's lagging behind Biden.
Surrounded by highly militarized
Put on
police
display.
forces.
This is all for display purposes.
There are around 700,000 Venezuelan migrants who were in the country prior to Trump getting into office. That's the estimate. Tren de Aragua, that's a few hundred are the estimates, but even
at most, I think not even 500 is the estimate. I think it's closer to 300, just shy of 300 of actual members of Tren de Aragua. It's just the poster, right? It's the justification to start dismantling civil liberties and civil rights, right? Because it's not going to stop at just Tren de Aragua, right? Why push the Constitution? Why break the Fourth Amendment and the right to due process? Why break that if you're just you're really gonna believe that they're just gonna stop at supposed gang members, right? Because we can't even say that they are gang members because we just don't know. In fact, as we've seen, as some of these horror stories we've seen, they're not. And the Democrats, should have anticipated was clearly expected to happen. 100%. They knew. This notion that they're surprise Pikachu facing at how horrible all this is. Everyone knew, right? They were literally waving mass deportation now signs at the RNC. I mean, this wasn't a secret, right? At all. But then the donors take precedent. Yeah, it's true. I don't get why people don't understand this. I don't know. But it's just liberalism as an ideology is not very equipped to deal with fascism. Be careful. Do you read books? You could be next. Yep. Everyone with a Michael Jordan tattoo is wearing long sleeves. Yeah. And you know what? They should. It's scary because you can be on a one-way ticket to this El Salvador concentration camp. I mean, I had to make my father take his Air Jordan sticker, a very, very visible Air Jordan sticker at the back of his vehicle, because they could just stop him and be like, hey, are you a suspected member because you have this sign, on the back of your vehicle that symbolizes a gang, that symbolizes a gang. History has taught us in no uncertain terms that they will not stop. 100%. Look at France. They threw MLP his ass in jail. I feel like liberalism can find in some ways. We could have thrown him in prison here too. Of course, the French want their Statue of Liberty back when Trump does that crap. I mean, yeah, because the point is that the United States no longer embodies the values as to why the Statue of Liberty was given to it.
Want to include all 700,000 Venezuelan migrants who are here. The total that Brian Kilmeade is talking about vastly exceeds by almost just incomprehensible portions, the number of criminals that are here, which means that they are basically classifying all immigrants as criminals.
Right, and then saying it's not just that they're gang members, it's that they're terrorists.
Right, and they say that, right? They said that just by entering the United States is already, by definition, you're a criminal, so therefore, concentration camp. Bye. So therefore you should be shipped off to the concentration camp. So like, yeah, this is like some really dark and really, really vile stuff. And Fox here, Fox and Friends, are their job is to act as sugar pills so that normal Americans, or more Americans, because Fox is widely, viewed. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest news media outlet out there. It's to sugar pill this crap because, again, it's not going to stop at documented immigrants, right? Like, it's not going to stop at undocumented. It's not going to stop at documented immigrants. We're all on the chopping block. Crazy how Eisenhower changed our motto from one nation, one people to one nation under God, and nobody cares. Yeah, we had to stick it to the godless commies. So that's why that happened. A surly barber. Welcome.
You can't just say, because it's crazy how much they are aware, obviously, of the fact that if you said, these people haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah, false news is boiling the pot slowly. Yes, that's actually exactly it. Exactly it.
Other than seek a better life in this country, people don't want to see them sent to a gulag.
Yeah.
That's why Sagar was sort of dismissive of it on Breaking Point, saying like, well, who's saying that? The ACLU? You think none? I mean, even if one of these people is that innocent, this is a crime against, even if they're all guilty, to be honest, sending them to a foreign gulag by one of your fascist sort of like buddies is, it's despicable.
And look at the comparison now. They treat the January 6thers who were on video doing what they did versus just presuming criminality because
you're brown. That's it.
Latino.
Yeah,
MS-13 was also cited there. That started in LA. In the 80s. In a prison. We have prison gangs all across the country. We're going to classify all of those as domestic or as foreign.
Yes, they would. They would love that. Hello, my fellow despisers of the President Pig Vomit. More than just Fox, the quote left-wing media is almost normalizing it.
Terrorist organizations, even though they originate in the United States.
Tren de Aragua also started in a prison, which is just a good thing to remember for folks who think that the solution to all this stuff is locking up people in large numbers.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe.
True. Maybe if you actually address the root problem, you might be able to take you might be able to start making headway with crime. Yeah, a lot of horror stories like this, Dennis Paco, and more, these are just the ones that we know about. These are the ones that we just know about. For every one of these stories that get reported, you can guarantee that there's more. And now they're floating reparations for the January 6ers. Yeah, I mean, like, that tracks, honestly. Why not? Why not? Talking about reparations for a harm and a stain and disgusting period of this country, right? Talking about reparations for black people, that's actually woke and bad and disgusting to talk about. Talking about reparations for domestic terrorists, A-okay. If I'm going to vote for a man in his 80s for president, it's going to be Ian McDiarmid, an actor who played the Emperor in Star Wars. Many countries like Canada now warn people to travel in the U.S. and many European countries too. Yeah, just don't come here. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's not a punchline or a joke. Like, there's literally like no reason to come here. Okay, like you are subject to harassment by the Gestapo, by ICE. So yeah, I would just avoid it. I would avoid the United States at all costs. I would have voted for Bernie yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I voted for Bernie both times, okay? Yeah, don't come to America. Seriously. Do not come, okay? It's just not safe. It's just not safe. RFK to gut vaccine promotion and HIV prevention office sources say. Yeah, you know, as we've been saying for years, since this guy came into the picture, this guy's a freaking nutcase. I missed 2016 by a few months, but I would have. I'm already scared because I already have, for some reason, 3 Germans under arrest. Yeah, and yeah, just I would recommend to not come here. The entire staff of the Federal Office's Government of Infectious Diseases and HIV/AIDS policy is expected to be laid off. Multiple federal health officials told CBS on Friday. The moves are part of a broader restructuring plan ordered by Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. that involves cutting 20,000 HHS positions. It is a silly place. If you can spend $5 to $20 million to get the Trump Fast Pass, come on, you deserve to be scammed. Much of the government's efforts to buoy lagging childhood vaccination rates nationwide have been run through OIDP, including a new campaign called Let's Get Real that had launched in the final months of the Biden administration to provide resources and information to healthcare providers talking to hesitant parents. Spreading the truth saves lives, so use our resources to help parents understand how vaccines work, why they're safe, and how they help protect kids. The Office of Minority Health has also been informed that it should expect to be dissolved. That's cool. However, multiple officials say the written notice of layoffs have not yet been received by HHS employees. Senior federal health officials initially on Friday said they were expecting the official notes of the cuts would be issued in the afternoon, but acknowledged that the timing of the letter would have to slide into the weekend, similar to the cuts of HHS probationary workers sought by the Trump administration earlier this year. Major U.S. airlines stock price as of today: Delta 28%, United minus 30, American Airlines minus 39. Foreign travel to the U.S. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I would highly recommend to not come here. Pestilence, war, famine, and death. Trump is getting the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse all geared up. True. By the way, all of you guys are welcome in Europe if you want to escape the U.S. Trust me, like, you know, it's like, it's on one hand, like, I completely understand why, like, people would want to bounce to places where the government actually cares and values its citizens. But, like, on the other hand, like, A, you know, it costs a lot of freaking money. It costs a lot of money. B, I mean, it even costs thousands of dollars just to renounce your citizenship here. C, like, why, the question is, like, why would people have to leave? You know what? Why doesn't the capital class, bounce instead of, like, us? Like, why do we have to be subject to this? You know, this is our home. We live here. We live here. Yeah, minority being the key word. OIDP, overseen by the Office of Assistant Secretary for Health, or OASH, has numbered around 60 employees at the end of the Biden administration. The cuts come as the Trump administration is trying to merge the other offices in OASH into a new HHS agency called the Administration for Health of America, or AHA. HHS did not immediately respond for a request to comment about the potential layoffs. The National Vaccine Program, also run by OIDP, works with an advisory committee to coordinate the department's agencies to develop vaccines, oversee their safety, and increase their availability and use. Other initiatives overseen by the OIDP include ending the HIV epidemic in the U.S. program, which launched by President Trump during his first term. It's unclear what will happen to those initiatives, which Congress has already approved funding for. ODIP, as I'm going to call it, had previously been among the several overseen by former Secretary of Health Rachel Levine under the Biden administration. It is unclear whether other HHS agencies have been overseen by Levine, like the office tasked with updating the federal dietary guidelines, will also be cut. That office has been the target of criticism under Kennedy's MAHA. The new AHA agency would also absorb the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration and Health Resources and Service Administration, according to the fact sheet published by the department. Who would lead the AHA in the long term is unclear. For now, officials have been told to expect HRSA's Administrator Thomas Engels to head AHA. This is a deeply, deeply unserious administration. We are the country that just revoked legal status for hundreds of thousands of Afghani and Ukrainian people. I don't want to hear any BS about pro-life being from a Republican. Oh, it was always, 100% good for Gabby. Well, 100% it was always BS. Yeah, we're going to fight for our country. Like, listen, I don't blame people for wanting to go. I don't blame people for leaving either. I'm just saying, like, I'm tired, boss. Okay? And you know what? It shouldn't have to be that people feel the need to leave. It shouldn't have to be that people are scared. It shouldn't have to be that, like, citizens of this country are losing their lives, are losing their civil rights. It shouldn't have to be this way. It shouldn't have to be that trans people have to worry about their very existence. It shouldn't have to be that, like, minorities, people of color, Latino people, citizen or not, are eligible to be just snatched up. I mean, like, it shouldn't have to be this way. I hope it gets better for you guys in Germany who have problems too, as also known as the far right. I mean, like, it's the same thing. The AfD is basically the Nazi party, and the Republican Party here is the equivalent of the Nazi party in modern times. The AfD is basically a Nazi party, and so is the Republican Party. That's why they like each other. That's why they like each other. Kennedy's aides have told senior health officials that they're targeting a quick turnaround to launch AHA, with some implementation goals to be hit within the next 10 days. So cool, man. Hope you, here comes the, one of the apocalypse horsemen, pestilence. Elon Musk hands out $1 million checks after efforts block the giveaway in court are rejected. So that's cool. I mean, you can just buy elections, if you're Elon Musk. See, this is the problem, right? And this is another perfect illustration, right? Like, for the people that, like, are having trouble grasping the problem with billionaires having all this wealth, is that they literally buy government, right? They can swing elections by a stroke of a pen signing checks. because they have unlimited amount of money. And their influence over these elections directly affects you. So yeah, it's incredibly important to be aware. Elon Musk is not just some like billionaire, right? Like his money and his wealth buy him power that reinforce his money and his wealth, which is used to buy more power, which reinforces his money and his wealth. And it's a feedback loop. My boss told me that his friend wanted him to sign the petition to get the $100 from Elon, and then if he signs it, his friend gets an additional $100. Scariest thing about 47 is that there isn't even an actual plan in place. These Nimrods are just making it up as it goes. They have concepts of a plan. They're not going like completely blind. The wild card factor is Trump. But the people around him do have a plan, more or less. The CDC doesn't give bird flu updates anymore, so that shit could start at any minute. Yep. I'll cash a check and vote against Musk's interests. He's not worth being honest with. Ah. Yeah, I would argue. I would argue that they do. Like, they do have a plan. It's just like Trump is the wild card in all this because, like, it's up to him whether or not he wants to be the vehicle. Mostly, he has. Actually, if you go to the Discord and go to the resources channel, there's actually a very, very interesting link. That tracks Project 2025 with sources that tell you what they've done and what they've accomplished and what percentage of Project 2025 is complete. And you can check that out. They wrote a book about their plan. It's called Unhuman. I'm leaving for work. Don't end the stream within the next 15 minutes. No, 20 minutes. I got to stop at the store. Yeah. We might make it. That's right. And their plan hasn't really begun yet. It's a 100-year plan via the America First Policy Institute and really kicks off with Advance 2028. I'm scared when the old people die and the younger generation will come to civil war because the far left and the far right are both extremely strong in Germany. Yeah, but the problem is always the far right. Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is always the far right. The Republicans have Project 2025. Democrats have Project 1965. Anyways, just hours after the Supreme Court rejected Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kahle's efforts to block Elon Musk from handing out 1 million checks on Sunday night, the billionaire took the stage at a town hall in Green Bay and gave away two $1 million checks to attendees in his latest efforts to buy votes, urging the crowd to back Skimmel. Musk cast Tuesday as a vote for which party controls the House of Representatives and implied the future of civilization is at stake. Okay. One tenet of fascism is that there's always a necessity for this constant state of emergency, right? Like, that is a key tenet of fascism, right? Like, the future of civilization is at stake. This constant emergency is a really, really distinct character of fascism. They have a plan. It's just like almost a 100-year-old plan by a bad Australian painter while they were in jail. Did you watch the Musk town hall? Total garbage. No, I didn't. I don't think I could watch it, honestly. Like Godspeed if you can stomach it, but I'd probably make it a couple minutes. We got to do a drinking game. What drinking game? Rules? What kind of rules would we be playing under? Drink when you want to die. Every time he stutters, take a shot. Drink when you want to die. Jesus. One of the recipients of a large showy check. Like, honestly, like, even, that doesn't even, like, bother me. It's just, like, he's so freaking insufferable every time he opens his mouth. He's just so freaking insufferable. I watched some of it and I'm paying for it. My mental health is in the toilet right now and I want to flush. Yeah, that's kind of completely understandable, and a reason why I just can't. Look, I can do, handle so much, but like I gotta cover stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like I don't care for Elon Musk unless he's like doing something relevant. The amount of times that I'm able to actually like listen to him is very, very limited. Every time he mentions comedy, drink. Every time he mentions immigrants, take a shot. Finish your cup if he doesn't. My heart goes out to you, motion. Oh my God, the entire stream, the entire chat will be like on the floor, gone. If we play this drinking game, like the entire like chat, including myself, will just be done. We'll be toast. Fun fact, one day before Trump got elected, the German government collapsed, so in 2 days, two bad news. The Wisconsin Supreme Court order just came minutes before... one of the recipients of a large showy check, Nicholas Jacobs, is the chair of the Wisconsin College Republicans. Ha! That's, tracks. The Wisconsin Supreme Court order came just minutes before the event was set to start. Notably, the court also rejected a bid from West lawyers to ask two justices who had campaigned for Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Susan Crawford to recuse themselves. The ruling came after an appeals court on Saturday denied Call's emergency motion to stop the giveaways from taking place, i.e. the buying of votes. Call wrote in his initial filing on Friday that he was asking for emergency relief to stop Musk and the America PAC from promoting $1 million giveaway to attendees on planned events. On the planned event on Saturday, March 30th, yesterday, and prohibiting respondents from making any payments to Wisconsin electors to vote. However, the judge assigned to the case, the Honorable Columbia County Circuit Judge W. Andrew Voigt, refused to hear the lawsuit before Sunday's Green Bay rally with Musk, prompting Call's emergency motion to asking a court of appeals to take action. After the emergency motion was rejected, Call appealed to the Wisconsin Supreme Court to step in on Sunday. Lawyers for Elon Musk and America PAC then filed motions for the recusal of Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Rebecca Frank Dowlett and Jill Karofsky. They argued that because Dowlett and Karofsky campaigned for Crawford, and Crawford had been critical of Musk, to avoid any potential perceptions of bias and manifestations of possible bias, the justices should decline to participate into the consideration of this matter. The lawyer also framed the planned Sunday night giveaway as spokesperson agreements for spokespeople for the PAC. The initial lawsuit, shared by Call's office, Call argued that Musk's announcement of his intention to pay $1 million to two Wisconsin electors, one of them happened to be the leader of the Republican Party, who attended his event on Sunday night, specifically conditioned on their having to vote in the upcoming April 2025, which again is indistinguishable. Look, you can code it in whatever paint of coat you want, but like, let's be real. This is effectively, for all intents and purposes, attempting to buy votes. How are the Tea Party bros telling me this is okay? I get more depressed the more I read the stuff that they're doing. Yeah, yeah. It just gets worse. Trust me, it gets worse. Who do you think will win the Canadian general election? That's a question for David Dole. I'm going to be honest. Follow the rational national. In the initial lawsuit shared by Call's office, Call argued that Musk's announcement of his intention to pay $1 million to two Wisconsin electors who attend his events on Sunday night specifically conditioned their having to vote on the upcoming April 3 of 2025 Wisconsin Supreme Court election as a blatant attempt to violate state law, which forbids anyone from offering or promising to give anything of value to an elector in order to induce the elector to go to the polls, vote or refrain from voting, or vote a particular person. Yeah, I mean, like, 100%. 100%. This is what's happening, right? Like, the point is, like, he's not technically saying that you should vote one way or another, but, like, come on, dude. He's obviously catering this in a way that is inducing a certain to try to induce a certain outcome, right? Pie Market says Mark Carney at 66, which is unfortunately has been proven to be very accurate in elections. Liberals are way ahead, but that's very recent. It would be awesome if Pierre Poilievre lost. Yeah, I mean, like, that's basically, like, from my limited knowledge of Canadian politics, him losing would just be a win in and of itself. The suit asked for a restraining order prohibiting defendants from any further promotion of the $1 million gifts to attendees of the planned Sunday March 30th, 2025, as well as a temporary restraining order prohibiting defendants from making any payments to Wisconsin electors to vote, and injunctive relief to restrain and prohibit all actions by defendants taken in furtherance of a planned violation of state law. In addition to presenting the checks on Sunday night, Elon said his PAC is launching a Block Captain program ahead of the election on Tuesday, where participants will make $20 for each picture they post of someone with a Schimmel sign and a thumbs up outside. I mean, like, come on, man. Come on. Like, really? Be for real. So far, two political groups aligned with Musk, America PAC and Building America's Future, have poured $20 million into supporting Schimmel for the open seat. The world's richest man has used cash giveaways in the past, including a controversial $1 million sweepstakes offered to voters in swing states, which, again, is tantamount to buying votes. During last year's election cycle as a part of an effort to boost President Trump's chances of winning. Incidentally, it paid off. The Wisconsin Supreme Court election on Tuesday has generally become the center of political firestorm and has become the most expensive state Supreme Court race in American history, according to the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University. The only good news is that Elon Musk's stock market is crashing. Needs to go a lot lower, though. Could you sign up for his BS sweepstakes and just not vote how he wants, though? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, technically, yeah. And you would be eligible, right? But, like, the point is, like, the people that are trying to enter this are most likely not, they're most likely Elon sycophants, right? Like, the people, it's meant to induce, because he can't, like, directly say, like, only the people that I want voting can sign up for this, right? But, like, let's be honest, the overwhelming amount, is designed to kind of induce that outcome. But yeah. But technically, yeah, you could sign up for the sweepstakes as a registered voter and potentially win that. It's just, report back if you manage to win a small loan of $1 million. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Pam Bondi instructs the Justice Department to dismiss the Biden-era legal challenge to Georgia election law. Yep. Attorney General Pam Bondi, incidentally the same Attorney General that helped Epstein, skate on a couple of things. Hey, why doesn't my feed showing up the follows? I have to like physically go to. Anyways, that's just OBS. So Pam Bondi, incidentally, the Attorney General that helped Jeffrey Epstein, is now the Attorney General. On Monday, directed the Department of Justice to dismiss a lawsuit challenging a Republican-backed Georgia election law that the DOJ previously alleged intentionally suppressed black voters. Which, yeah, I believe it. Doesn't matter your legal status if you're trans. It's not looking good. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, like, you have people, you have laws in Texas trying to literally abolish your very existence if you're trans. They literally want to make your existence as a trans person a felony in Texas. Whether or not it passes, I doubt it will, but like the point being is that this is the kind of stuff that they want to do. And, if by any chance, at any point, any of these disgusting and hateful legislation ever ends up actually passing, then it becomes a blueprint for the other red states. So, yeah, it's a constant freaking fight for trans people just to exist. People are really convinced that 1% of the population is hurting them in any way is insane. Yeah, and like, I mean, like, hate, man, hate and bigotry, kind of like fueled and being introduced because of this kind of like Christo-fascist ideology. I mean, it's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. Bipedal just got back from a rally in Detroit. Oh, which rally? I just got back from the hospital in Berlin. Oof. Hope you're doing okay. Oh, nice. A trans rally set up by BAMN. Nice. On Trans Visibility Day. Yeah, it's the trans immigrants who are Trinidad Special Guerrilla Forces that are disrupting my grocery shipments. True. I'm going to Port Huron this Friday for the protest. Nice! A bunch of people are going to DC on the 5th as well. Heck yeah. The lawsuit filed under President Biden in June of 2021 alleged that the law would disproportionately hinder black voters' access to the polls, but Bondi framed the case as, quote, politically motivated, saying it misrepresented the law's effects. Yeah, whatever, dude. It is an all-hands-on-deck kind of deal. Contrary to the Biden administration's false claim of suppression, black voter turnout actually increased under SB 202, Bondi said in a press release. Georgians deserve secure elections, not fabricated claims of false suppression, voter suppression meant to divide us. Nope. The division is being caused by you. And yes, this is not about secure elections, because if it was about secure elections, where's the proof that this is necessary in the first place? Like, where's the significant proof that that there is some serious problems with the security of our elections? Right? There was never any proof of that. It's a false premise that you're claiming that you want secure elections. You're making up a problem. You're making up a problem so that you can give your solution to said made-up problem. Incidentally, that solution is to further enact your goals of trying to suppress the vote. The law was part of a broader GOP effort to tightening voting rules nationwide following President Trump's 2020 loss, which prompted allegations of voter fraud in the U.S. along elections among Republicans. Again, never was there any evidence that this was the thing that was happening, right? But that is the pretense that they're using. So make no mistake about that. Right, Trump didn't win by enough, so they're saying it's fraud. They said the same thing in 2016, bipedal, 100%. 100%. They said the same thing in 2016. They said that Trump, in 2016, when he won the election, that he would have won with millions of more if illegal immigrants didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that literally was their argument in 2016. Again, electoral mandate. Among other provisions, the legislation had established a voter ID requirement for mail-in ballots, shortened the time period to request a mail-in ballot. And again, to my knowledge, IDs are not free in Georgia. I live here. So no, IDs aren't being given to you for free and just automatically shipped to you. You have to go pay for it. Shorten the time period to request a mail-in ballot. How is that like addressing security? And limiting the number of ballot drop boxes in the metro Atlanta area. Incidentally, a heavily Democratic stronghold. Yeah. All those dead people voting. IDs aren't free anywhere. Exactly. Correct. My favorite is the 200-year-olds who are on Social Security but not receiving Social Security, so they're stealing our jobs. Critics argue laws like these disproportionately affect marginalized communities and unfairly targeted Democratic-leaning voters. 100%. They literally did this in Atlanta, like the Democratic stronghold. The Democratic stronghold of Georgia, right? Like, why not limit ballot drop boxes in like other places? No, they targeted specifically Dem areas. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who had previously pushed back against Trump on Monday, expressed gratitude for Bondi's directive, saying it reaffirms that the state law stands on solid legal ground. It doesn't, actually. That doesn't mean that. That's not what that means. Voter suppression rears its ugly head yet again. Yeah, this time solidified by the administration. I'm very afraid of the 2026 midterms. They're going to use, they're just going to be pulling people out of line. You know, like, it's scary, and I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibility, but, you know, we just gotta, like, see. All those immigrants who are taking everyone's job are also too lazy to work and collect welfare. True. Our commitment has always been to ensure fair and secure elections for every Georgian. Despite losing an all-star game, the left's boycott of Georgia as a result of common sense law. What? This isn't Trump's administration's first move to support the more restrictive voting rules. Last week, Trump signed a sweeping executive order targeting mail-in voting. directing the Justice Department to ensure that all states reject ballots not received by Election Day. The order also called for proof of citizenship to be added to the national voter registration form. So, yeah. And incidentally, also, you better make sure if you're a woman that you have your paperwork in order, because if these people have their way, if your name, because incidentally, as a woman, you may change your name if you're married, doesn't match the one in your birth certificate, guess what? You can't vote. But hey, I guess, you know what? The vote might not even matter. As it turns out, they're really pushing for this completely authoritarian timeline where Trump doesn't have to focus on elections. In fact, I would argue that that's probably why they're able to do all the most unpopular things, because they don't care. There's nothing to worry about. Why would you worry about elections when your objective is to make sure that there are no elections? Trump called himself the fertility president the other day. I really wanted to memory hold that. I really, really, really wanted to forget that happened. Oh my God, he's just so freaking gross. Yeah, a thing that happened, unfortunately. Trump thinks that everything he goes against him is crooked. He's the biggest egomaniac since Caligula. You'll just have to vote for me once, and that'll be it. Literal Trump vote. Yep, literal Trump quote. Yeah, to the evangelicals. Yep, 100%. Look at this clown. Look at this clown. Get out the period track and hang on to your birth certificates. What a failure to have to tell these things to have the population. Yep. Thinking about Trump and fertility makes my ovaries shrivel. It's enough to make. Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe the drinking game should be changed to a bingo card. Trump has said he had never heard of Signal today. Amazing. Okay, but how is he out? But how is he so out of touch, or is this all lies? I don't freaking know. It's just chaos. Elon is Christian with unlimited funds. Trump won't rule out seeking a third term in the White House, tells NBC News. There are methods of doing so. Bro's got the publisher's clearinghouse check. Yep. Right there. President Trump said he did not rule out the possibility of seeking a third term in the White House, which is prohibited by the Constitution, incidentally. He's out of touch because he's 1,000 years old. Saying in an exclusive interview with NBC News that there are methods of doing so, and he clarifies it says he's not joking. So, folks, I mean, like, he's not joking, okay? Like, this is not a euphemism for anything else. This is not a 400D chess move that he's, pretending to play. This is not him trying to hide the ball or play coy with anything. He's telling you he is not joking, folks. He's not joking. Can you believe Elon had the nerve to cry about George Soros today? Yeah, because it's not about he was crying about George Soros agents all around the world in Wisconsin. Yeah. But again, it's not about like George Soros, because if that were the case, the consistency would be like, wait a minute, isn't Elon also like an uber rich billionaire influencing politics? No, the problem with George Soros is that he's the token or the representation or the what do you want to call it? Whatever. The representation, the front for Jewish people. He's talking about Jewish people, right? When he says George Soros, when all these far right people talk about George Soros, right? They're not talking about like a billionaire influencing politics, right? Because that doesn't explain Elon Musk, right? So it's another thing. It's the fact that George Soros is Jewish. That's what this is. And as Bipedal Meatbag says, Elon never misses a chance to be anti-Semitic. 100%. His handlers are going to weekend a Bernie's Trump around like they do Mitch McConnell. A lot of people want me to do it, said Trump. That's not true, question mark. But I mean, I basically tell them we have a long way to go. You know, it's very early in the administration. Folks, wake up, okay? We're at the start of this ride where the roller coaster is going like this, and like people need to remember that we're not at the top yet before the thing freaking drops us like a sack of potatoes. We're still climbing that little initial part before the ride starts. So yeah. Please sign me up. It's not even a good ride, unfortunately. Quote, I'm focused on the current. Trump added some of his most extensive comments to date about serving a third term. When asked whether or not he wanted another term, the president responded, I like working. I'm not joking when asked to clarify, but I'm not. It's too far early to think about it. When asked about whether he's been presented with plans to allow him to seek a third term, Trump said there are methods which you could do it. No, there aren't, actually. Save an act of Congress to eliminate the 22nd Amendment. No. NBC asked about a possible scenario in which Vice President J.D. Vance would run for office and pass the role to Trump. Trump responded, that's one method, but there are others, too. Asked to share another method, Trump simply responded, no. Amending the Constitution to abolish the two-term limit would be exceedingly difficult, requiring the two-thirds vote of Congress or two-thirds of the state agreeing to call a constitutional convention to propose changes. Either route would require then ratification from 3/4 of the state. The president pointed to his poll numbers, which are abysmal, saying that a lot of people would like me to hold office for a third term. Not true. Not true. Trump has previously commented on running for a third term in office. The Republicans have seen these comments as a joke or the president trolling his critics. Nope. Nope. I made a video years ago saying that he's not joking. And here I am in 2025 suffering from the Cassandra syndrome, right? Of me talking about this. And here we are. See if I can actually find it, because anyways. somewhere around here. The sound effect that's always playing in the back of my thoughts one way or another. Was it this one? Roughly about an hour ago, Trump did one of his press conferences, if you can call them that, about coronavirus. And one of the questions that the press decided to ask him was, will there or can you commit to a peaceful transition of power? This was Trump's response, quote, well, we're going to have to see what happens. Yeah. He then went on to say, quote, you know that I've been complaining very strongly about this. Was 4 years ago, by the way. Ballots. Again, I talked about this in my last video. He keeps pushing this conspiracy theory of massive voter fraud due to mail-in ballots without a single basis or a shred of evidence whatsoever. Anyways, for emphasis, who is willing to uphold the rule of law. This is someone who is stepping into dictator authoritarian areas. Yeah, I mean, like I've been literally saying this for years at this point. So yeah, this is not a freaking joke, man. This is not a joke. Bro, why does socialism have no motion? Honestly, I think it's mostly like the way we have the way like the way we don't have capital, right? We don't have capital like the right does, because inherently as left wingers, we don't really tend to have the backing of big capital. So there's never going to be like a left-wing daily wire that gets pumped with billionaire money. Does that make sense? For one, yeah, we don't do propaganda well. We don't do strategy well, because everyone's kind of just like branched off and doing their own version. And again, I think a lot of it's because we don't have organization, because, well, we don't have that big, investment of like billionaires like trying to pump left-wing messaging out there. Yeah, but like 500 racist assholes put on masks and intimidated the government. We can't do anything. No, it's not that we can't do anything. It's just that like the right always has some kind of the right always has an advantage in that sense. But I would say that like no, we can do stuff, and we do stuff. The left, right, is the reason why we have rights to begin with. The left is the reason why we have worker protections to the extent that they exist. The left is the reason why we have the 40-hour work week, right? Like, it's not that we can't do anything. We don't have the funding, but that won't change. So what do? Organize, educate, organize, agitate, or agitate, organize, educate, something like that. I'm gonna mess that up all the time. But the point being is that we may not, be winning constant elections or whatnot, but we can affect change. If the Dems had any core beliefs or backbone, all of their propaganda would teach class consciousness, but they're not a leftist party. They're sponsored by billionaires and millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, well, it's our job to do that. So it comes back to learning propaganda. Yeah, good propaganda. Start local. Yeah. If you want to be hands-on, then yes, definitely start local. Find your local offices. Find what kind of elections are happening, and find out what kind of elections are going on, and start there, or just simply like get people together. You know, yeah, make good trouble. Hey, Environmental Coffee House. I didn't see you earlier, or for this long, or I would have watched earlier. No problem. I know that like sometimes, you know, YouTube's notifications are really just abysmal. I'm volunteering for Zoran Mamdani. Nice. There you go. See, that's something you can do, especially as a lefty. There you go. That's literally like going hands-on. So Life, welcome. Welcome back. I'd love to have you, I would love you to watch my show from Sunday and get feedback. I want to know if you ever heard of what I'm talking about in the show. Cool. Around what time do you do your shows on Sunday? I think it's useful to find people who aren't hardcore Republicans. You can sometimes find common ground and bring them into the fold. 100%. That's where the gold is. That's where the gold is, right there. That's where the gold is. Expecting to have the largest political volunteer movement in New York City history in this summer, so I guess we have something. Yeah, like I said, dude. Yeah, that's awesome, fantastic. Do that. Yeah. It's the one from last Sunday. I do them at 11 a.m. Eastern, but it's already up there. Awesome. Okay, well, I can definitely check that out. Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee crafted a resolution calling for the extension of presidential limits, which would allow Trump to seek another term in office. We actually covered this. We actually covered this. Meanwhile, Trump ally Steve Bannon said in an interview on News Nation that he believes Trump will run and win again in 2028. Bannon said in the same interview he thought we'll have a couple of alternatives in determining how Trump could seek a third term despite the two-term maximum. The White House has amplified Trump's comments, likening himself to royalty, posting a picture of fake magazine cover depicting the president with a crown after the administration shot down congestion pricing in New York City. The White House's post to X quote, oh yeah, the famous long live the king stuff. Yeah. Yeah. This is not a joke, folks. This is serious. And he's going to push for it. It's a matter of how, it's a matter of what we do. Honestly, are we going to take this? Because it's not going to stop, right? If Trump can successfully steamroll the concept of elections, then like it's done, right? It's done. It's a done deal. He'll just appoint the next person, JD Vance or whatever, and there'll be like no elections. It's just Trump anointing, the next guy, and that's it. Bella, welcome. Listen to this third term bullshit as a distraction from everything they're really doing. He's only in the first few months, and we have to fight for what's happening now. It's a walk and chew gum thing, because like, it's a walk and chew gum thing simply because I think that he's serious about this, and I think that making sure that people have that in the back of their heads. I mean, it's, I'm not saying that he's going to do it, but he certainly would like to. He certainly would like to. Yeah, walk chew gum thing. Trump floated the idea of running against Obama. I think the whole summer is going to be busy in every city unless they clamp down on nonviolent civil disobedience. Oh, yeah. That's going to be, I mean, certainly not out of the realm of this administration, seeing as he doesn't like protests. Yeah, that's just taking the news cycle for today, covering up where the stock market crashed. I'm not excited about a JD presidency either. I would say that's probably worse than a Trump presidency, to be honest. I would be more scared of a JD Vance presidency than a Trump presidency. I mean, like, we're kind of, you know, giant cheeseburger in 2028. What are they going to do? Send federal agents into NYC in Chicago? Yeah. Actually. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Small government. Trump versus Obama would be the biggest mismatch since heavyweight champion Larry Holmes battered Randall Cobb, and Obama would be playing the part of Holmes. I'm going to go eat Impossible Burgers. Honestly, not bad, by the way. Not bad. I've had a couple. I've had a couple of Impossible Burgers, and not bad. You just have to find the right brand that works for you. But I've had a couple, and I've had a couple in the restaurant, and it's actually pretty nice. If you listen to some historians, though, they're convinced that we were pretty effed. I agree. I'm not, I'm hanging on the seat of by the edge of the, by the edge of my pants right here. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. That's for sure. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ladybug. Appreciate it. Mussolini would be proud. Yep. Globus. Hey, folks, go follow Globus the Elder. Okay, there's a couple of people in here. There's a couple of people in here in chat. Go follow Globus the Elder. Go follow Environmental Coffee House on YouTube, and go follow or subscribe rather to The Letter Hack. I've got Beyond Steak tips calling my name right now, so good. I'm not a vegetarian type. I own a smoker, and I'm a smoker, so Beyond Steak. I mean, that works too. Come on over to left of the box now. There you go. Looney Tunes. There's your call to action for the folks on YouTube. I got to get out of here. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all of you hanging out. Thank you for the new follows. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you. We are here Monday through Thursday around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you enjoy the content and want to keep supporting the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Thank you. Keep liking the stream. Keep subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you want to support the channel directly, hit that exclamation mark merch and exclamation mark tip. Also, consider joining the Discord, and you can keep up with the channel there. And also, lots of love, Carlos. Thank you so much, Environmental Coffee House. Nice. Thank you for hanging out in chat. And check out the Substack as well. Let's hope Infighting saves us all. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. As always, folks, we'll be back tomorrow at around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Environmental Coffee House. That's never a fun day. That's sad. All right, folks, hang tight. I feel bad for my daughter. I'm just trying to cover myself because I've been mama hospice to this cat for 2 years. Aww. I'm sorry. Hang in there. Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.